A police officer arrested for suspected drunk driving not once, but twice.
Now there are questions as to why he was allowed to keep wearing a badge. News 4 investigative reporter Lauren Trager spoke with a family that was directly impacted by the officer's decisions.
Thought I got hit by a train. I really didn't know, what had happened. He was going at a very high rate of speed.
Back in January, Michael Hoeing was on his way to work when he was hit from behind on I-70. Behind the wheel of the other car, Ronald Darland. A witness says Darland was going well over 100 miles an hour. The report indicated alcohol was involved.
I honestly thought I broke my back.
Michael Hoeing says he was severely injured in the crash. His wife, Erin,
you're just never prepared for that kind of call.
Disturbed by the very memory.
There was blood on his face and his nose was swollen, lacerations, glass in his hair.
But the Hoeings say what upset them most was what they learned later. Though off duty, Darland was a police officer for the St. Charles County Police Department.
We trust these men and women to protect us from people exactly what he did.
Darland hasn't formally been charged for the crash. He refused a breathalyzer test, but the investigation is ongoing. His last day with the St. Charles County Police was shortly after the accident. But what made things worse, the Hoeings say, was when they saw the most recent news.
It just makes me sick.
In November, Darland again was involved in an accident, crashing into a tow truck during a recent snowstorm, narrowly missing a woman inside who was 8 months pregnant. Again, he was employed as a police officer, this time for the North County Police Cooperative.
It's mind-boggling to know that he was a police officer. I was shocked when I heard he was a police officer in the first accident. When I heard that he was a police officer somewhere else, I was floored.
Attorney Thomas SanFilippo represents the Hoeings. He says Darland's cases are startling examples.
It's an open secret that there are places in North County where police officers with an unsavory history can go to hide out or sit on timeout, if you will.
We wanted to know why the co-op hired Darland after his suspected drunk driving arrest back in January. Chief John Buchanan refused our request for an interview, saying it was a personnel matter, but indicated Darland was hired under the previous chief, Tim Swope. Swope resigned from the co-op in September and will be taking a leadership role in the county prosecutor's office when Wesley Bell takes over.
There is no conceivable way that the police department that hired him subsequent to the accident could not have known about what happened here. He was definitely arrested, and he refused a breathalyzer.
Just because you're charged with a crime doesn't mean you necessarily did it.
Darland's attorney, Travis Noble, says Darland denies driving drunk in both cases. Does he feel like he's at fault in any way?
Well, I don't know that. I haven't discussed with him yet in terms of whether or not he thinks he's at fault with the accident. Still waiting to see the accident report.
Darland has been charged in O'Fallon Municipal Court for driving while intoxicated in the most recent accident. Through a records request, News 4 learned he left the co-op 12 days after that accident. We asked Noble about whether Darland should have been working there in the first place.
I do think there is the muni shuffle. I've seen that in case where police officers kind of bounce around from jurisdiction to jurisdiction. I don't think that's the case here.
Does he want to work as a police officer again?
Sure. I think that, being a police officer is something you're kind of called to.
That thought, though, is appalling to the Hoeings.
He should not ever be a police officer again.
They say they want Darland held accountable.
I hope that this time they'll throw the book at him and he'll, get what he deserves.
Though he was arrested in the crash involving the Hoeings, nearly a year later, they haven't learned whether or not Darland will be formally charged. We tried numerous times to reach the Lincoln County prosecutor on the case, but our multiple phone calls were never returned. Darland is facing municipal infractions in O'Fallon for the recent accident. We will certainly keep following his cases. I'm Lauren Trager, News 4 Investigates.